This is an interview with Beyoncé Knowles. That's Beyonce Knowles, Knowles, on Thursday, November 9th, 2006, at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in New York City. And I'm Dotson Rader, DOTSONRADER. Okay. I mean, a lot of the stuff you have said 100 times, but I have got to get it on print. I'm really interested in your values. Christmas stuff, but your values. Would you want to take a jacket off?
No, I don't mind. I just took my shoes off.
You've never been touched by scam, and so from our point of view, you represent a kind of American. I mean, it sounds too broad about this, but goodness. You live decently in a business, show business that doesn't lend itself. That isn't easy to do.
That's very true.
So I'd like if you could start this by telling me that it's Christmas. Mm-hmm. Say when you're 3-4 years old, somewhere Christmas, then what Christmas was like briefly, but what you wanted to be. Did you want to be? I mean, I wanted to be a cowboy when I was 4. Seriously, when I was 4 years old. Whatever you wanted to be. What's your little girl fantasy?
My fantasy, I know it sounds cliche, but I literally I remember my mom saying, "What did you learn today at school?" And I said, "I want to be a singer. I want to be like Michael Jackson." And she laughed and thought it was funny, and then when I got about 7, I was embarrassed to tell people that I wanted to be a singer, and because I guess I thought people would ask me to sing, and I was too shy. Mm-hmm. So then I said I wanted to be a hairstylist because my mother was a hairstylist.
Right. I was waiting out to have to say you wanted to be a singer.
Yes. And I started singing around that time because my dance teacher heard me singing and was like, told my mom, "Do you know your daughter can sing?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I've heard her sing. She just knows she can really sing."
Your dance teacher?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to have her sing she was the dance teacher at my school.
Mm-hmm. Is it St. Mary's?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And my mom had my sister and I in dance classes after school. So she said, "Well, the dancers are performing, but I'm going to have her perform by herself." So my mom and dad were, there to watch us perform.
Right.
I sang Imagine. And
the
John Lennon.
John Lennon, beautiful.
And they completely were in shock because I was alive on stage. And from that moment on, I loved singing on the stage. And then I met the other ladies, and I loved singing with the group even more because I felt like it was a group of us, and it was easier. We were friends, and people. First of all, it was more fun just because we were kids and we would learn routines and do them together. And I ended up doing what I wanted to do since I can remember. I wouldn't be anything else.
I was going to stop and make sure that.
Okay.
I did. I had a real affection for it.
I could only imagine.
When you, I've read an enormous amount about you,
right.
and lots of your interviews, and probably every interview you've done. And one of the things that keeps up coming that you brought up today, is again about your childhood, is how shy you were, how quiet you were. Do you have any idea why you were shy? I
have no idea. I know I wanted a younger sister really badly, and once she was born, I think I maybe felt like I had to be mature and take care of her because I really don't remember, beyond 4 or 5 years. But as far as I can remember, I was uncomfortable speaking around children or my peers, more so than adults, because I was fine with my mom's friends. Who knows why? I don't know. I just felt like I had to shut down around other kids. I was just shy. I was embarrassed.
Were you picked on, or were you?
I was in a very small school. I didn't feel odd. I wasn't picked on any more than any other children. I didn't have any bullies, or I just was more comfortable being quiet.
Did you have, I don't mean to make a big point, but the reason is that lots of people, even presidents, who go into public life, and one of the things you talked about, they have a kind of divided self, and a lot of times that comes out of a profound loneliness, a need to connect, and they have great difficulty doing it for whatever reason. And I was just wondering if maybe the extraordinary ordinarily now. And one of the things I'm interested in is where that comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think, did you have this divided self? Did you have this? I'm just saying bad things.
No, I know. I did. I mean, because I would perform and then I'll go back to being shy. And on the stage, I was comfortable, and then I guess I know I was born to perform. It just was so natural for me. And I don't know. I mean, I went to a really small school, so it was a private school, and it was only like, small, 10 kids in the one grade. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like it was a lot of kids that picked on me or anything. I guess maybe I wanted a sister so bad. Maybe I was lonely.
Is that because you wanted someone to love, someone to take care of?
I guess so, maybe.
No, I'm asking you.
Well, all of my friends had sisters. That was just something that I would go home and be by myself, and I wanted a sister, so I probably was a playmate. I wanted a playmate, yeah.
When you went that's your timeline.
Okay.
I never stick to. Just tell me really briefly how the idea forming a girl group and how all that came about.
I performed all around Houston in little local talent shows, and when I was 9, heard that it was these women in Houston that had this big organization it was all of these different singing groups, and they already had a couple of local singing groups, and they wanted to form a young singing group. So I auditioned for them, and I met Kelly there.
Oh, okay.
I met Kelly there, and
she wasn't a schoolmate.
No, she went to school with Latavia, and I met her there. Latoya went to school with me.
Okay.
And then we all ended up going to the same school. But we met in that audition. And I brought Latoya into the group, and she was at my school. And we went on Star Search. And that was our first public performance. We thought we were, that was the big deal for us.
It is a big deal.
Definitely. And we lost. And then the producers and the people that were involved said, they invested time, and they kind of were like, no, we can't do it anymore. So my dad, because we were all devastated, we thought the group was over, and my dad said...
You said you were, just to be devastated. I'm sorry,
Oh, it's okay.
When you said you're devastated,
because we lost.
Yeah, but what happened, more than just being devastated, what did you mean by that?
Oh, well, imagine you're 9, we were babies, and we told everyone we've been rehearsing and practicing, and we finally got our big break on television. And we thought that after we did Star Search, we would win and win and win, and then become superstars and, win the record deal. And we lost the first time. We didn't even win once. The first time we were on. And, we were sad, and we were making excuses because, they had us against an adult band, and, but really we weren't ready. We were too young, and we're kids, and we needed a lot of work. But at that time, we were just devastated. And then my mom and all of their parents, we all went to Disney World, and we were cool. But then when we got back home, and we had to tell everybody we lost, and all of our friends we lost, it was like the most embarrassing thing ever, because we told everybody we're going to be on Star Search. And, we thought, we all cried, and we thought the group was going to be over. And my dad said, no, y'all can still practice, y'all can still perform, we'll still get you on, shows. And that's what he did. So he started helping us, and we had rehearsals at my house, and he started getting packages together, and FedEx was our best friend, because he FedExed our demo tapes and our pictures. We went in the studio, and he basically began managing us then, and years later, here we are.
And when did he quit his job?
Probably, it was after we got our record deal.
With Elektra?
To be honest with you, they were 6 months apart. I don't know if it was between one of those. I don't remember.
When you see where this is going. When you had the loss on Star Search, and then your father, it was really rather remarkable when you think about it, got you a contract with Elektra, and then basically pooped out on that.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't do anything.
No, they didn't. We made a whole record, and we were signed to a production deal. So they were having problems with the production company. So every artist signed to the production company got dropped, including us.
So you had sort of two pieces of bad news, bang, bang.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And why did you keep going? I mean,
Right.
I guess would say, well, I like the way you're talking to me, and this is what it's saying, and it's time to hang up my dancing shoes.
Well, we thought it was time. And
you.
Oh, right. Well, I guess I knew that we had something special, and I knew it was a possibility because we kept getting all these opportunities. And really around Electra, because at one point I told my mom, I'm going to just go, to school and I'll be fine. I'm 13.
Right.
Okay, and
if it doesn't happen,
I'm, young and I'm happy and I'm cool. But Teresa from the label called my dad because we were gonna sign with them originally and told us to fly out to New York. So it was like, okay, there's a possibility.
Yeah.
And once we came here, I mean, we performed as hard as we could because we knew this was our chance. And I guess I loved it. I loved performing. I knew I didn't feel and still don't feel the way I feel on stage at any other point.
And how do you feel on stage?
Well, really, I can't remember. I can't even remember what I do. It's just like an outer body experience.
And you become someone else.
I become someone else.
And you like the person you become?
No, I wouldn't like that person off stage. No. I wouldn't.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, because she's too aggressive and too strong and too sassy and too sexy and too, it's great for the stage. It's entertainment. And I feel like when people come to a show, that's what they want to see. That's what I want to see. When I went to see Janet Jackson and Michael and everyone else that I love, that's what I wanted to see. And I'm not the person that has the quick response. I'm not the person that is flirtatious, or I'm not the person that is super confident.
Right. Oh, you know?
Well, I am confident, but not overly confident. And Sasha, and that she is. I mean, she is fearless, and I'm not.
You told me, is this the Sasha?
Sasha is me on the stage.
Is that a real thing that was made up?
No, I just made up the name so I could separate the two. And one thing I did, which I didn't know, I wasn't aware of, was named her. And I am aware of keeping that person on the stage and keeping my Beyoncé off stage. And I think because I've separated the two, I've been able to maintain my spirit and who I am.
I know this is what I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
But you got to be famous very, very early. And that's a terrible burden.
It is.
And how do you, that's basically, how do you handle the, do you know what I'm trying to say? I understand, it seems to me it must impose a kind of loneliness on you, isolation, fame itself.
I felt that way for a couple years.
Right.
Especially around 18, 19. I guess because I was no longer a teenager. And I was like, who am I? What do I like? What do I have to do besides work? And that's all I did. Who are my friends? And and that happened once the members changed in the group.
I don't have to deal with that.
No. And I was lonely, and they were my best friends. So that was really tough for me, just because they were my best friends and we grew up together.
But they betrayed you in a way. I know that's not personal.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it was a very important lesson for me to learn so young, and it was tough because at one point I felt like, before that, people didn't really pay to us personally. It was just our music.
Right.
And after that, I felt attacked, and I was so young, and that was really difficult. So I was lonely. I was sad. I went through a phase where I was depressed, and I didn't eat, and I stayed in my room, and I was really in a bad place. And that's when I said, okay, I have two choices. I can be depressed and give up, or Kelly and I, we love each other, we're best friends, I have my family, and maybe that's when I kind of built a stage persona to protect myself. But when I go home, I don't think about it.
You think you know how to weigh in?
I guess so. I mean, I don't really watch videos, talk about what I do when I'm at home. I kind of shut down and I want to spend time with my nephew and I want to go walk through the park and I want to do normal things. And I don't feel lonely. I have my family, I have a lot of friends that don't think about who I am, maybe because they have other friends that are celebrities. And I've been very fortunate that I really don't feel that void, or I don't, and I see that in a lot of celebrities, and I see that underneath the smile, that unhappiness. And I know I tapped into that when I did Dreamgirls, and I wanted to have that pain behind my eyes. So when I worked with the acting coach, we went back and tried to think of things that have affected me in my loneliest period. So, you know, I practiced saying the dialogue while thinking about those things. So behind my eyes, there was pain. And that
was real.
Yeah, I mean, it was real, but I don't think I'm not unhappy or lonely.
When you, well, I'm glad of that. I was going to talk about Dreamgirls later, but just in terms, since you brought up in terms of Dreamgirls, when you look at Miss Ross, and which has not been altogether happy, but where she came out of, and what you understand is rather understandable,
right?
Because she came out of poverty,
right,
in a very difficult situation. You, on the other hand, come out from an upper middle class family, a successful family, and so. One of the great sort of riddles about you is what drives you,
right?
Because you don't need it,
right?
Because you already have what everybody else who came from poverty and wanted to be famous for, was to get an upper middle class.
No, it's true. It's true. Well, I did grow up with successful parents. Everything that I wanted, my parents provided. And my mom worked so hard. My dad worked so hard. And, I mean, we still spent Sundays together. We still went to church and had dinner every Sunday. But most of the other time, my parents were working. So I saw the value of work. And I also enjoyed my work. I mean, I since I can remember was when everybody else wanted to go outside and play, I wanted to be in front of the karaoke machine writing songs. And I wanted to watch tapes. I was obsessed with it. And I'm still, to this day, I know I wear everybody out. I'm such a perfectionist, and I love to rehearse, and I love to figure out what I'm going to do next. And when I'm working, I'm working. And when I'm not, don't ask me anything. Don't even call me. Which is why I don't have a cell phone.
Good for you.
Yes.
So when you talk about, was there a point, Ms. Knowles, in your life where, whether on stage or where you suddenly realized that this is what you were meant to be, and this is what God wanted with your life?
Absolutely. You know, there's certain shows that are special. There's certain people that you make eye contact with in the audience that make your heart full. And there's certain things you feel that's bigger than you. I feel on stage, and not only when I'm on the stage, but when I'm doing videos or when I'm, I just know. I mean, I'm supposed to do what I'm doing. First of all, I know everyone is great at something, and I feel like I'm great at what I do. And I don't know how long I want to do it, because I also get really bored, which is why I love doing movies, because that same insecure, scared, nervous feeling that I used to feel, I definitely feel when I do movies.
So it's exciting again.
It's very exciting. And I don't like being bored. So
you're terrific at film. I've seen your film.
Thank
you're terrific at film.
Thank you. I'm learning, and I feel like I learned so much with this movie, more than any other movie. But I enjoy it. I love it. And when I do that, then it inspires me to do more music, because I'm away from it and I can appreciate it.
Fighting Temptations, I mean, you were the only actor in the film. I mean, I liked you were doing. I didn't know where he was, and I don't know what he was. He was in a different movie than you were. I mean, you played a very serious. It was an actress.
Thank you so much.
You inhabited the role. You were the role you played. You didn't, except for the singing.
Right.
I didn't see you, and this we're way ahead of ourselves here, but when you brought it up, so this one fame. I assume, I hope so. I mean, I assume you've got a lot of money, and I assume you're, I know you're well famous and you admire, but money isn't an end in itself. I mean, you can't eat it. Money is a means. You can use money to buy things or buy people or whatever. And fame has no value in and of itself, except to have people interrupt you when you don't want to be interrupted. Right? But fame's power is that you can force the public press pay attention to something that concerns you, whether it's your movie, or it's AIDS in Africa, and the same thing with money. And my question is, you've been so single-minded all your life on this world that you're in, and you now dominate. What is the point of it?
I think about that all the time. I know one thing, when I wrote Survivor and Independent Woman, for the first time I felt like, and I wrote that at 18, 19, so still really young, but I realized the power I had and how it could be used for something beyond music. And especially when I was in Japan, and these young Japanese women were like, they had their phones and they were so excited that they could pay their own bills, and someone told me, it wasn't the style for us to have a job and to not be so submissive. Now, we're proud to say that, we're our own women and we're smart, and y'all, in a way, changed the culture. And me being a young 18-year-old girl just writing a song because that's how I was feeling that day, had no idea that all the way in Japan, now women would be proud to work and to be able to say that I pay my own car note, I pay my own bills, I'm independent, I'm strong, and all the single women are like, I'm strong, and all. I didn't know that. And
what you're saying is that's the moment in which you realize what you do can affect the world.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I know that I'm still young, and I'm still...
You're so young.
Yes. And I'm still working really, really hard and don't have a lot of time. But I'm really affected by Africa. I've been there twice, and I feel so connected when I'm there. And I know, I just did a show in Nigeria, and the hope in everyone's eyes when they see me it makes me want to come back. I wish I could stay there. I definitely want to go every year. But to see someone that I know is just like me, and I know that's my home, that's where I'm from, I see how hopeful they are when they see me on the stage and they see me successful. I feel like I can do something there.
Is this when are you talking about regard to AIDS or the hunger?
As far as AIDS, it's just self-esteem. The young women feeling like there's someone that cares.
Well, they feel like they're not alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because people in Africa just like to pull here.
Absolutely.
And I read a great deal about poverty in this country and about sickness. I just did a thing on drug addiction. The chief thing, what the lack of money does to you, is it isolates you. It confines you. You're trapped in poverty. You haven't the money to get out of it. And so you have this terrible sense of abandonment that nobody cares about.
Absolutely.
So when someone like you shows up,
absolutely,
there's a sense that the big world, does care about me. They've noticed me. And people want to be noticed. They want to...
Absolutely.
I'm preaching here.
No, but I know you're saying exactly what I feel and exactly what I felt. And is that something that when you dream of being a performer, you don't think about that. You don't know the power you have. And eventually it comes to a point where you feel like God is blessing you to bless other people. And I've done a lot of things. My mother and I have the Survivor Foundation. We're building transitional housing for Katrina survivors.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the foundation called?
Survivor Foundation.
Okay.
And yes. And I have a building next to my church. Is Kelly from Destiny's Child. It's called the Knowles Rolling Center. And there's a studio there, and
next to your church.
It's right next door to my church.
What's your church?
It's called St. John's. Yeah.
My father was a preacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Baptist.
I grew up at that
church. He was a
church.
Baptist who slid into Pentecostalism.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the last 20 years, he had a tent. The last 20 years, he was, praying for people.
That's beautiful.
And that's when I was a little boy, after being a cowboy.
Oh.
My mother wanted me to be a preacher.
Really?
Yeah.
You said you wanted to be a cowboy?
I wanted to be a cowboy. Yeah. My mother wanted me to be a preacher, and that's when I was this high. I have a twin sister, and my twin sister and I when in the tent, we had a tent that would go around, usually rural areas, and my father hold meetings. Mm-hmm. And my sister and I would stand in the middle. We would stand on the platform on chairs, and we'd sing duets. We'd sing Some Other I'll Be There, Precious Lord.
That is so nice.
I'm no singer, but we were little, and
That's beautiful.
When I was 7, I would start doing little pattered songs. Talking about Jesus. I said, "Tell the truth." Well, you mentioned your church. How is the Christian values, Christmassy again? How do they inform your life? Did you say how do they restrain what you do? We talked about that you've never been touched by scandal. What is it you aware that God's watching you?
Absolutely. That God has a way of weeding out people in my life that I don't need to be around. And I have a lot of protection around me because everyone around me I've been knowing for at least 7 years. We're all family.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, my publicist, I started working with when I was 14. My choreographer when I was 15. My assistant is my cousin my whole life and my best friend. My father's my manager. My stylist is my mother.
Your father's still good?
Yep.
You are tired. I mean,
he is tired. He has to be, but he loves it. And he has a lot of. He has a big company with a lot of other people. So he doesn't travel with me. He has his office. So him and my mom, they live in Houston. They come here a couple of days out of the week because my mom does a clothing line with me, and they go back to Houston. So they'll stay good.
You live here now?
I live here. Yeah.
I'm not going to say, but you downtown? Okay.
Yeah. So everyone around me they know who I am, they know what I like, they know, and they love me, so they protect me. And I'm very fortunate because I wonder why was I born with that, because most people, celebrities, don't have that. And I think that's a lot of the reason why they end up doing things and losing their values, because their values are not around them. And, I mean, I choose who I want to be around. It's my choice to still have the same people around me. And it's difficult at times because, when there's someone you love that works with you, it's hard to correct them, and it's difficult. But for me, it's worth it. And even though it's uncomfortable at times, it's worth it because, for one, I don't have to worry about people using me for the wrong reasons or a lot of things that most people have about.
Because you people around you trust.
Absolutely.
And they're honest.
They're very honest, even when I get mad or when...
Being told what you don't want to hear.
Yeah. But I tell them all the time, if I am going too far left, please bring me back. Please bring me back. That's something that I'm so conscious of. And I've been that way since, I guess someone asked me, I don't remember when the moment was, but for years I've been conscious of making sure I don't go far. And maybe it's because I see...
far away.
Go to my own diva planet. Like, I want to still be on Earth, and I want to still, love the same things that I want to grow, and my opinions change, but I still want to be a normal person. You rarely meet normal celebrities, and that's scary, which is what makes acting scary for me. Because while I was doing the movie, I had to keep thinking about things that were painful, and I didn't like that for 6 months, But which makes it scary to do more movies that you have to be in that funk for so long. I still had a good time, but that's one of the things that scare me because I don't know how actors do that all the time. That's a hard job.
That's why they pay so much.
I understand now.
It's tough.
I understand.
I'm just going to change tapes.
Okay.
The tape is fine. I don't want to get... This is what she said. Are you sure this is what she means?
Oh, that's so great.
You're talking about, basically you're talking about the loss of self, of who you are, remembering who you are, right? And basically not believing. Right? Is that right?
Basically.
I just found this out about 2 days ago. I've sent more stuff from fact checkers, and I didn't know until then, all I should have, but I didn't know that after your father quit his job, that the family went through a lot of financial straits, like a lot of families do. But I didn't know it was a long interview with your mother that was under, in which she talks about the fact that she and the girls had moved out and he sold the house and he lived in an apartment, and that your parents were separated for about 6 months. And I was just wondering how that must have been awful for you.
It was very, very hard. It was very hard because my mom, who is the rock, was
She's a beautiful woman.
She is very smart, very loving, and can always hold it together. I could see how sad she was, and that was very scary for me, just because she couldn't hide it. And I still had my car, and I still had a great Christmas, and my sister did, Kelly did. So we never felt like we were missing anything. Obviously, we were in an apartment that was that was way smaller than our house. But my dad still came in on Christmas, and my dad still came around. And we would try to sneak and look and be like, come on, guys, work it out. And eventually they did. But during that time, that was really hard for me because I was so close to my mom and dad. And I felt like I was always like tried to keep the peace. And I've always been that person in the group. And whenever any person, I don't like confrontation. I always try to keep the peace. So I always felt like I could fix it, but I was young, and I couldn't fix it. So I just felt helpless and so sad for my mom because I could see the pain she was in.
When your father quits his job, and he had a terrific job, I mean, I've gotten the figures on it, and he's an extraordinarily successful man. And then he begins managing you, and the house goes, and the marriage falls apart, and did you have any sense of guilt at all? Oh my God, this is all because of me?
No, I didn't.
I would have felt that.
I didn't, because I didn't think, I was so naive and so protected. I never felt like my father quit his job for me. And maybe because I still had an expedition, I still had the new shoes, I never felt like we didn't have anything that you went to pride. Right, and my mom worked hard, my dad worked hard, and I didn't think about that. I just knew they were going through their problems, and I'm sure the fact that he quit his job and we didn't have money had a lot to do with the problems, but they also had their own problems, and I didn't feel that way.
Statistically, what the number one cause for divorce in America is?
What? I'm very curious.
It's not infidelity.
Really?
No, it's money.
Really?
Majority of marriages that end with conflicts over money.
That's unfortunate.
And if the man loses the job, the chance of the marriage going to hell goes. I used to know the figure, I don't know the figure, but this is as of last year.
Wow.
And
that's interesting.
Yeah, so money's what when young people get married, they don't realize the stress beyond the marriage when they're struggling to make the rent.
Right.
And she needs a new pair of shoes. Or he maxes out the credit card on something she thinks is dumb, like a night out with the boys.
Well, yeah.
When do you think you knew? I'll just point it up here. I have it written down. When that you knew you couldn't go back again. That life had permanently changed for you, which is to say, whether when the Destiny's Child became such a huge hit, was when you did your first CD by yourself, was it the first film, when you did Carmen, was it? I'm talking just you yourself, Ms. Knowles, that you suddenly said, oh my God, in the sense, I'm stuck with it now. There's no turning back now.
That's a good question. Maybe. Let me think about that. Probably when Destiny's Child had aired. It was around the time I did Carmen, and I was recording Survivor, and our celebrity had grown, and I couldn't go to the Galleria anymore, which is the mall. And the way people reacted to us was different, and it was it was over. The privacy was over.
Did you like that?
I liked it the first time. I mean, I liked it the first time someone asked for the autograph, or even the 20th or 50th time. But eventually, when you're eating or you're trying to go to the movies, you know, and then it gets old. Or when I'm at church and I can't even listen because everyone's tapping me, or can't even cry, or whatever I want to do, I can't do it because
you can't be alone with God.
Yeah. That's when it's like, okay, this was fun, but I wish I could turn it off at times.
Do you still go to church every Sunday? I mean, you still
No.
but you're still a believer.
Absolutely. When I was doing Dreamgirls, I went to church. And for one, it was because I was in LA, and because the church I went to, it was called West Angeles. They had other celebrities that go occasionally, and they didn't really, you know, they weren't starstruck, or they didn't
You
care.
go to church here?
I haven't found a church in New York.
Have you tried the Madison Avenue Presbyterian?
No.
Or Madison Avenue Methodist, rather. I was there 2 nights ago. There's a
Really?
speech given on, it's on drugs. It's an Upper East Side, fancy pants, but it's a Methodist church.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody pays any attention to,
Right.
because they're used to people, powerful
Right.
people being there.
Right.
And you might want to check it out. And it's
I will.
they will leave you alone. I don't go there, but I mean, I was just happening to
It's
go
a
the other
place
night.
that
Yeah,
it will give you.
Madison Avenue Methodist. It's on 74th and
Yeah.
Madison.
Okay.
I'm just.
Thanks.
Well, you tell me the fact that with celebrity and the way, the funny way it cuts you off from real life.
Right.
How does that affect? I'm not going to talk about specific people, but how does that affect your ability to have a romantic life and to have a boyfriend? And how do you know if someone actually loves you as opposed to what we were saying earlier?
Well, I used to say that all the time. I had the same boyfriend from 12, 13 to 18. Around 18, 19 is when my life changed. And it was hard for me to let go, even though we were great friends. We were children, first of all. But it was harder for me to let go because I was always afraid that I would never find somebody, now that I was famous, that would like me. For me.
Before you were famous.
That didn't know me before. Right. And that's actually one of the lyrics.
It's a good instinct.
That's one of the lyrics in Dangerously in Love. It's in the second verse.
Right.
And then
I didn't know you were talking about him in the song.
yeah, I wrote that when I was 17. It was on my first album, which was like 4 years later, but I wrote that long time ago. And when I was afraid of making friends and the whole thing, and that's when I was going through that lonely period. And then my mom told me, do you know how smart you are? Do you know how sweet you are? Do you know how beautiful you are? Why do you think that a person wouldn't love you? What is there not to love? And I realized I have a lot to offer to people more than me performing. So why wouldn't they like me? And that's how I've been thinking about it since then. And I guess, just from first of all, I don't go out looking for friends or go out hanging out, or that happens naturally. And, it takes me a while to open up completely. And when I feel like like the person is offering me something and we connect, then I make friends. And I've been able to make a lot of friends, I have more friends that are genuine than I think a lot of people that are not famous, than a lot of people that I know. So I'm lucky.
I'll tell you, one of the ways you're lucky, last year I was with Mariah Carey, all those things. But one thing you were talking about is and she's a girl from Long Island, and she doesn't come from she comes from a rather difficult family situation with problems with drugs and all that at home. And she comes into this town, she doesn't know anybody, she has no one to protect her, whatever.
Right.
And you know her story well enough. But the story she tells, and a lot of which is obviously private, but about what young girls without a protective person face in
Absolutely.
L.A. in this, trying to make it in this business.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, one of the things about you, what's fascinating about you is that I don't know why, how you, that's what I'm trying to figure out, is how you just, you know, it's live, it's carefree, it's sort of way you went through this without falling into
I had choices.
serial sex or drugs or...
I had choices. I mean, we've been in studios where people are smoking weed or drinking, or which is that if that's somebody's business, then that's their business. I don't judge them. But when we were younger, I had a chaperone. I had someone there to say, don't bring that around them. And now that I'm older and I decide, then I say, just because that's not me, and it's fine if that's what you do, but that's not me. And when I'm working, I'm professional and I'm working, and I expect a person to be professional with me. And that's what I ask for. But I, unlike a lot of people, did have somebody to protect me. And now that I'm old enough to decide who I want to be and who I want to surround myself with, I want to surround myself with people that I'm going to become smarter because I'm around them, or that are successful, or that have good families, and that I can learn from, just because I want to be happy, and I know that my life is beyond music. And once this is over, because who knows when people are tired of hearing my songs or seeing movies or whatever, I want to still have a life. And now that I'm getting older and I'm trying to figure out balance, which is something I've been struggling with, but I'm getting better at scheduling my vacations and making sure I have time for myself. I want to still have something to do when I'm not working, and, you know, I just want to have a long life. I want to have children, and I want to be married, and I want to eventually, and when the right time is, but I want to, you know, take my kids to church and go to dinner with them and have a normal life.
And Christmas.
And Christmas, absolutely.
What is, without mentioning his name, I mean, you're with someone now, and is part of the strength of that friendship based on the fact that he's also in the business and he knows the pitfalls and he protects you? Yes,
it's definitely wonderful to have people that understand and that want the same thing, and friendship is so important. It's the most important.
The rest goes, and that's,
absolutely.
If that's not there, there's nothing there.
Absolutely.
When you looked at your parents, the difficulty they had when they were separated, you've got extraordinary parents, by the way. I mean, I hope you realize that.
I do.
They are extraordinary people.
Thank you.
Does that make it all gun shy in terms of commitment, of worrying about something it may happen to me, that you've got to be very, very careful who you...
Yeah, I mean, they went through their problems and separations, but that's real life. And I'm happy that I've seen, I had an example of a real couple that go through their issues, but always come back together. And now they've been married 27 years, and they're still in love. And that's a great example for me. And that's why I know that's why I want that. And I know that it's possible.
You sing a lot about love.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you? We just go back to the same question we asked earlier. But see, I don't think you understand. Is that when someone is sitting in the room with you, it's hard to believe that's actually you sitting there. I mean, there's a kind of unreality to your presence because you're just so famous, and I mean, just to look at you is so famous, and it's like you can't quite believe. No, I'm not. And you've, I'm sure, had that reaction.
Yes.
Famous people too. And when you meet the president, you can't quite believe.
Right.
It's like and how do you, given that? I mean, my niece, who was 16, is absolutely nuts about you. I mean, she's practically wet her pants, and I can't really say it. And she's at the point where she's gone to her, and she's still a good girl, but she's at that, right. And one thing we're talking about the other is how does she know a boy really loves her? So I'm going to ask you an adult question. How do you know a man really loves? How does a woman know, particularly a woman in your situation? How do you know? I'm serious. How do you know?
You know by the way they treat you, the way they respect you. If you can trust them, how you feel when you're around them, how they feel when they're around you.
But the key is trust.
Definitely.
Because I think that's when that goes, it's gone.
Yeah.
You said once, do you want me to just give you a quote of yourself? I'm sorry. You tell me about, in relationships, I think a lot like a guy. Do you know this quote? If I do something wrong, I don't get emotional. I fix it. When I do anything, I do it. When I fall in love, I'm there, right?
That's
what
true.
What do you mean by that? It's really no nonsense.
It is. I am that way in my own passive aggressive way. I try not to be emotional, and I don't know if it's the businesswoman in me. I don't know if it's because I've been working because I've been in a group with women, and I'm usually the person that is like, okay, let's settle this. So I try to think logically, and I don't know if it's because I'm a Virgo or I don't know, who knows. Maybe it's because I'm the oldest child, but I do give 100% when I say that I'm going to do something in my mind. When I make up my mind, like if I'm going to work out, then I'm a fanatic. And if I'm not, then I'm eating whatever I want and I'm blowing up. Or when I'm in love, I'm there. I trust you 100%. And if I don't trust and if I'm not 100% there, then I'm not going to waste my time on a situation.
Getting back to Jesus. And getting back to the question I was asking you earlier, we didn't quite get to, there's a line in the Bible where Jesus says, from whom much is given, much will be required.
Absolutely.
And then Jesus tells the story of the talent and talent. And I know you're a Christian woman. And you take that seriously. And you're talking about the effect that what you did had on girls in Japan and on appearing in Africa. And the Katrina. But in terms of, I'm not talking about now, but say 10 years from now, when you're married and you have children, that imperative, that duty to repay the world, do you have any sense that that you have a duty to repay?
Absolutely, yes. I know it's going to, I have a connection with young girls, with teenage girls. And I know a lot of teenagers look up to me. And I mean, I'm still a young lady, so I know how they feel. I know what they need to hear. That's why a lot of my songs are so strong. Because even when I don't feel that way, I write what I know they need to hear. And I think people will be surprised to know that I've been through the same things that they've been through. And just, I've had made little appearances at certain groups of young girls that need encouragement. And the effect that I have and the difference that I feel like I make lets me know that eventually when I have time, I'm supposed to do something with young girls. And I don't know if it's girls in Africa or here in America, but I feel like they listen, and I feel like I can touch a lot of people, a lot of young ladies.
That's your calling.
I think so.
But you're not quite sure whether it's drug addiction or it's...
I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure what it is. Whatever it is. But definitely self-esteem.
But that's what's on your heart. That's
the core of a lot of things.
Because you did, when you appeared at the Princess Trust for the Princess Urban Trust, and I thought maybe you might be given that in New York, and I think you have a place in London, I'm not sure, but I thought, well, maybe that's where you're moving. It's towards helping urban children.
Yeah.
All right, now just one more question, and that has to do with Christmas.
Okay.
What are you going to do? I mean, it doesn't have to act if you can do it. What are you going to do this Christmas? I mean, you're going to be here. I mean,
Christmas is so wonderful now that we have a baby in the house.
Daniel, right?
Yes, Daniel. He's 2 now, and he's talking, and he is telling us that he wants now. My mom cooks. She makes. She makes this Cajun turkey, and I'll be in Houston.
She really actually cooks stuff.
Oh, yeah. She cooks every Thanksgiving, every Christmas. The past couple years, maybe the past 4 years, I've passed out toys in Marcy Project, and then I fly to Houston. Right. And then I have dinner, and we open presents. And we have a toy drive there. A toy drive at our church in Houston.
Oh, great.
But we every morning, you know, we have our tree and our gifts and listen to Christmas music. It's the Motown Christmas. And my mom cooks and we laugh and we take pictures of everybody's gifts and play with the baby.
You said you had if she cooks Cajun
turkey.
What is
she
that?
injects it with all of these nice spices and onion and bell peppers, and every piece of the turkey tastes like, oh, heaven. It's just so spicy.
Is she, is that why that you connect with Katrina, because she's Cajun, your mother's Cajun?
My family's from New Iberia, Louisiana. And they're Creole, and that's why I do a lot of my artwork in Louisiana. For one, because I shot my first video and all my artwork there. I wanted people to know that they can come back. And for two, my family's from there. My name, Beyoncé, is my mother's maiden name, which is a Creole name.
Right.
And
so it means you're part French.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, Creole.
Creole French.
Yeah, I mean, that's the culture. I mean,
yes, it is.
The American French culture. Mm-hmm. And who else is going to be there at Christmas? I mean, is it your sister and...
Yes, the whole family. My Kelly is there. Michelle's there sometimes.
Michelle Wilson.
Michelle Williams, yep.
I mean, Williams.
My mom, my dad. The whole family.
And you go to church?
I haven't been to church on Christmas in maybe a couple.
I mean, that's okay.
Maybe 4 years.
In terms of why did you choose Dreamgirls?
I knew I was supposed to do Dreamgirls because I've been preparing for it since I was 16. Since I met my dance teacher, my choreographer. We've been using a lot of things from that musical.
From the musical?
In our tours, borrowing little, the Marla curtains and certain things they did. Because he's obsessed. And when we found out they were doing a movie, I was like, oh my God, this is something that I love. This is something that I know. This soundtrack I'm obsessed with myself because of Frank. He introduced it to me. Mm-hmm. And I had seen the bootleg play. Somebody brought a camera in, and I just wish I could have been a part of it. And now I am a part of it. And I was born the year that it was on Broadway. So was Jennifer. That's not a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
And just, the music is amazing.
Yeah,
everyone, Bill Condon was incredible and brought out the best in all of us. And it just was something so classy and so timeless. And I wanted it so bad that this character, I knew I could do it. And I thought it had a lot of colors. I could be 16 and I could be older woman and mature, and you could see the growth, and I was able to play someone so different from me.
Not an easy role.
Yeah, it's not, and I didn't recognize myself at all in the on screen.
Did you have a chance to meet Miss Ross?
I have met Miss Ross. I saw her actually while I was filming the movie.
Can you tell me about?
I was so nervous to say hi, but I knew she knew because I kept looking at her, but I didn't know what to say because we were watching a concert, so I didn't want to run up to her. And she came to me and was very, very sweet, and that was so nice because she didn't have to do that.
Right.
But it's interesting. Diana Ross was the inspiration as far as the look and some of my performance posture. Right. But the story is really different from her life.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And, I mean, Dina is so weak. And I know Diana is strong.
Dina's strong.
Weak. Yeah, she was very weak and manipulated. And
well, she's a victim.
She was so much of a victim. And I know that Diana's story is different. So I just want to say that because people think that, obviously the Supremes and a lot of the things in the movie parallel with her life, but it was really different. I played it very different from Diana.
Well, a lot of the story, my understanding of it, Ms. Knowles, is that when the book was written for it, a lot of it was taken from like Billie Holiday's life.
Yes, everyone's life combined.
Yeah, and other singers, and it was just all combined into and then for dramatic effect, they needed but she had the sense to be a victim.
Right.
Because the musical, the move, why you're so moved, and you are moved by it, why you're so moved by it is because it's just so unfair.
Right.
And are you going to be doing, so I'm not sure what I'm going to ask you now. Are you going to be doing anything after this? I mean, do you have anything lined up in terms of film?
No, not yet. I have a couple of scripts that I've gotten. I want to wait until people see the movie because I think people will give me different types of scripts.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's going to help you in terms of getting better scripts.
Yeah.
You see yourself like, I don't know, put a timeline on, but say in the future of becoming an actress rather than, do you see yourself as giving up?
You know, like I said, I love to act as something. I do want to win an Oscar, which means
join the club.
I know, join the club. Who doesn't? Which means at one point, just like I set aside this time, 6 months, and I dedicated and I did everything I could to make sure I did the best job, I'm going to have to keep doing that if I want to win an Oscar. Right. So I take it very serious, but I love music, so I'm sure I'll do both.
Acting requires a lot of.
It's very difficult.
And a lot of
it is
thought
so difficult. It's not.
Have you taken any acting classes?
I took acting classes.
You can continue to do that?
Yes, with Ivana Trebek.
Oh,
she's incredible.
My God.
And she had me working.
Yeah.
Every day.
I didn't know that. Good
she didn't. She's no nonsense. When I was in between takes, there was no laughing and silliness. I was in character the whole 6 months.
I'm going to ask you 2 Barbara Walters questions.
Okay.
I know you're very, 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 very young. And you're a lot younger than you think you are, actually. But at this point, this is a 2-part one question I would say, is that when you look back on your life, you haven't even on the 25 long years, do you have any regrets and anything you would have done differently? You think, oh God, I wish I hadn't done that.
People ask me all the time, and there's certain outfits I wish I wouldn't have worn. There's certain lyrics and songs that I cringe when I hear, like, oh, why did I put that in there? But for the most part, no, I wouldn't change anything. Absolutely not.
You ever remember just hear a little story?
I would love to. You have great stories.
She said, I used to go and, so you had the other thing is what is, in terms of just lessons you learned. I mean, what have you learned? I mean, you've lived in, I know your work, how extraordinary your life has been. And have you learned anything that surprised you? About people, about the nature of celebrity, about love, about family, about loyalty or the lack of it, about your country.
I have to keep people around me that I can trust and I can love. And I learned to continue to work on myself, never get comfortable. I'm never satisfied. As soon as I accomplish one thing, try to accomplish something else. But I learned that my goal in life is to be happy. And whatever makes me happy, that's what I have to do. I'm still learning how to say no. And I never would have thought no would be so hard. But I learned to take care of myself, or I have to take care of myself. Because even though I have a lot of people around me that love me, I'm the only person that can really take care of myself. As far as my health, my mind, so many things.
If we were all taken away tomorrow, would you go on? If you lost the fame, you lost the money, you lost it all tomorrow.
Absolutely.
You'd start all over again.
Absolutely. And I will be sad. I'm sure I'll be singing in the kitchen. And watching TV, getting sick, which it was me. But I'll be just fine. I mean, I know my personality, whatever it is, because I give my all when I do something. Had to go and teach at a school or be a mentor at a boys and girls club, that will become my life and I will be fine.
So basically you're saying you don't need all this?
No, I'm past that. At one point I needed it because I needed to make sure I was financially at a good place, so, and I needed to know that I could accomplish what I want. I still have things that I want to accomplish, but if they don't happen, I don't feel like my celebrity defines me, or I don't have that. I'm still hungry for it, but if it was taken away from me, I wouldn't go climb on the rock and die.
I just try to probe your point, which is that you realize that what you needed, what you wanted in life is to be happy.
Absolutely.
And so at the point when I ask you if this were all your happiness does not depend on all this stuff.
No, it doesn't.
You can be happy without it.
Absolutely. I'm happy with my spending time with my nephew, with my friends, and my parents.
So basically, happiness is other people.
Well, and yeah, I mean, happiness is knowing who I am, is appreciating my life, not complaining, not being, focusing on the positive things and how wonderful and how blessed I am. That's what's happy.
That's what Christmas is about.
It is. Absolutely. You're good.
You should say that.
That's what Christmas is about. Now you can say I quoted. That was me.
Now we got it. Thank you, Don.